Hey, so if you caught my last upload, I was talking about how I'm going to be blogging my thoughts on BWE and divestment's role or place in womanist theory. Then I got to thinking about it. I was like, a lot of the conversations we're having on social media as black women in general really could be connected to womanist theory. It's just so unfortunate that many of us don't know our history as women, specifically as women who are black. We do not know how much we have contributed to certain conversations, okay? I did a live stream last year called The Shattered Sisterhood, where I was talking about the divide between black women who are gender first and black women who are race first. And, I was talking about how you had black women like Frances Harper and Ida B. Wells Barnett and Mary Church Terrell and so many others having these conversations in the 19th century. So a lot of these discussions are not new. You had black women having these conversations again throughout the various civil rights movements that the country has gone through. And so we have that. And then, one part of womanism is this whole exploration of, not placing any more importance on your race than you do your gender, because they both shape our experiences as black women. And as a side note, understand these are not just conversations that are taking place in the US, because if you look at Africana womanism and African feminism, you'll find that these are global conversations that black women have been having for the better part of 30 years now. I mean, if you go out there and you research it and you look for the scholarly articles in the books, you will find that there's at least 3 decades of specific scholarship on womanist theory, okay? I would suggest that you look at some of that stuff. You can get some of the books pretty cheap on Amazon. And then another thing that I've noticed that a lot of black women kind of get confused about when they come to BWE and divested spaces, and they come across black women in these spaces who do identify as womanist, you get a little thrown off if you realize that, some of the women in these spaces are not Christian. Some of the women in these spaces may not participate in any religious beliefs. And it lets me know, so some of you all have not heard of womanist theology, womanist hermeneutics, which is basically a womanist review of Christianity in the Bible. And then I noticed that there are other women who come into these spaces and they're shocked. They're shocked because, they don't understand it. There are divested black women who identify with womanism, and maybe those women simply don't want relationships at all, or maybe they don't want relationships with men. And it's like, to understand that, you would have to understand that Alice Walker herself, the woman who created the term womanism, created it and partially defined it as a woman who loves other women, whether it's a platonic love or a sexual love. So you are going to come across women in these spaces who are sexually fluid when it comes to sexuality. That doesn't mean that every womanist is sexually fluid, but it does mean that some are. It doesn't mean you have to agree or disagree with it, but certainly, listen, we have to understand that a lot of these conversations that we're having on social media connect to ideas that have been thoroughly studied, researched, and reviewed, and we're simply adding on to a foundation that's been here for a long time. And I think that's important. I think it's important for us to recognize and respect the scholarly aspect of it, so that we understand that these are not just things we're sitting around and talking about online. Like, literally, these are topics that, depending on what you look at, depending on the research you've done, you may find that some of these conversations go back well before the end of slavery. Okay? Look at the writings of, black women who escaped slavery and they wrote their memoirs, or they had someone write them for them. you'd be surprised some of the things that black women were discussing even that far back. And so that's why at this point, you know, I know where I stand with women who are not gender first, with black women who are not gender first. And so at this particular point, I would like for my channel, at least for the next few weeks, to really talk about how we connect with womanist theory as BWE and divested black women. What's our role in that, if any, at all? All right? Anyway, please let me know what you think in the comment section. Please rate, comment, and subscribe. I thank you very much for your support. And also, if you go to the channels section, you will find the link to my live stream channel. Please subscribe there as well, okay? And I will talk to you all very, very soon. Have a great day. Bye.